My name is Miss Chrissy. I'm from the Harris County Public Library System and Lone Star College Sci-Fair. Today we're going to learn the acrylic pour technique and we're going to do the flip cup.
Hello.
Before we get started, let's go over some of the items that we're going to need. You're going to need your canvas. I would start with something sort of smallish to begin with. You'll need a material that's going to make your paint a flooding paint, making it much easier to pour. This one is called Flood, and I got it at a hardware store, and it's kind of the cheapest place to get it. You're also going to need paint. You need the kind of paint that's already sort of liquidy and not the tube paint. The tube paint would just require a whole lot more of this. You will need plastic gloves because it's going to get messy. You're also going to need thumbtacks, tape, and a stirring stick, a paintbrush, and a scale. You don't 100% have to have the scale, but it does make getting the numbers a lot easier. And a cup. Okay. First you choose what color you want, and in this case we're going to choose white because we're going to need a lot of white for this because it is also going to be part of the thing that we coat the canvas with. Ooh! Also, wear old clothes that you don't mind getting paint on. You're going to have about a 50-50 mixture, so pour in your paint. And then you're going to want to pour in about the same amount of the flood. And I like to put in just a little bit of water, just to loosen it up a little bit more. And then stir. Alright, now before we actually begin painting, flip it to the back. You're going to use your masking tape to tape along the edges. This will give you a cleaner line. Stop. Okay, now that we have the tape put on, we're going to put on the thumbtacks. You want thumbtacks that have a little bit of lift on them. That way when they sit on the table, the paint doesn't pool around the edges of the canvas, it'll go underneath. So make sure that you put all four in approximately the same height. That way when it flips over, it should be level. If you want to make sure that it's exactly level, you can use a leveler, or you can use it a little bit more, or you can just sort of eyeball it. The white that we just did all over the canvas.
But Miss Chrissy, if it's already white, why do we need to paint it white?
Well, that's so that when the new paint goes on, that it'll spread and pour much easier. So you just rock it around. And then use a paintbrush to get it all the way to the edges. And don't forget the sides. When you're satisfied with how smooth you have the canvas, you are going to use a new cup with no paint in it and start layering your colors. So I like to start with white that we just mixed. And then
If you were starting with a different colored base, would you be starting with, if you're using a different colored base, is that what you start with?
you can start with anything you want to. I've done the black base and I've done a white base. And it really doesn't matter which one. I just like how it looks with the white first. I'm going to be using blues, greens, and some yellows. So you just pour some blue in, straight in. You don't want to swirl it around. I have actually 2 different shades of blue that I'm going to layer on top of each other. And I put my paint in these bottles because it's easy to mix it back up later just by shaking it. So I have 2 blues, a green, and I have a metallic gold, which I'm going to pour in. I usually like to put at least 1 metallic color in. I am also going to put in just a smidge of black. So when you have all of your colors in the cup like you want them, you're going to take it and you're going to flip it. Then lift it up and watch how the colors move. You're going to tilt it from side to side to get the color to move all over the canvas. Now, what I like to do is do this over a trash can. And as you can tell, this trash can is used primarily just for this. So you just tilt and tilt. This is when you start paying attention to the colors and how you think the colors are moving. This is where patience is important.
Patience is a virtue.
Just go around the edges. Make sure that all the canvas is covered. And then set it to dry. So at this point, we're done for right now with the painting. We're going to let it dry, and after it has dried for a long time, because don't forget that the paint is very wet, after it's completely dry, then you're going to seal it. All right, now we're going to seal it, and I'm using a gloss sealer. The paintings I'm going to seal right now are acrylic pours, but they're not the ones that we just did. But I'm going to show you how to go ahead and seal them. Shake the bottle well, and then spray a light spray, moving it continuously up and down the paintings. And because these are done along the sides, make sure you get the sides as well. I usually like to do about 2 or 3 coats. So spray it, let it dry completely, spray it, let it dry completely, and 1 more spray and let it dry. So that's it. You've learned your first acrylic pour, the flip cup technique. So I'll see you guys next time.